This is an update to the Anna Walshe case. If you want to know more about this case and what is going on, please continue watching.
You are watching Roll a Mile in My Shoes TV.
In my last video, I had mentioned that Anna Walshe is a real estate agent, and she was, I guess you could say, really good at what she did because she was the primary breadwinner in her household, although she did not know that at the time because her husband, Brian Walshe, decided that he wanted to make it seem like he had more money than he actually did. And he was actually arrested previously for selling fake paintings of an artist by the name of Andy Warhol. But unfortunately, I guess his house of cards started to collapse when his wife discovered the truth. And sadly, due to this, I think that his ego was a little bruised. So in turn, he started to abuse his wife. And her friends said that at the time they didn't really or couldn't really connect the dots. But now that she has gone missing or is known to be what we now know is murdered, they are starting to put certain pieces of the puzzle together, like the fact that her husband was not the first one to report her missing. Sadly enough, her job was the first people to report her missing when she didn't show up to her job on the 3rd of January. And some people believe that she had been missing since the 1st or the 30th, well, the 30th of December and the 1st of January. And now it has been confirmed that she is possibly been murdered because her husband, Brian Walshe, was seen disposing of several trash bags in a landfill and several dumpsters nearby. And some of those bags contained bloody rags, a hacksaw, and some other things. And I think at first he tried to say that the DNA was his. But I don't know how he thought he was going to get away with saying the DNA was his, and knowing that his wife is missing, they were not going to test this DNA to make sure. And seeing as what was in the bag, things like the hacksaw and the bloody rags, I mean, come on, dude. You have to be smarter than that to know that these people are going to test these, rags with blood on them to make sure that they are or are not yours. And then some jewelry that was confirmed to possibly be hers was also found in one of those bags because that piece of jewelry had her DNA on it as well as his. And they also found her vaccination card with her fingerprints on it as well as his. And the jewelry that was in that bag, I believe she is being seen wearing that same piece of jewelry in a photo. So I'm not sure how he thought with all of this evidence he was going to get away with murdering his wife. Also, if I'm not mistaken, she had just had a baby not too long ago, so I'm not sure of anybody, unless you are not a good parent, who's going to leave their children without calling to check on them, especially a baby that young. And from my understanding, she loved both of or all three of her kids so much that she would never ever go a minute or a day without checking on them, and seeing as her husband was, staying home with the kids because he had a nice little accessory on his ankle bracelet, if you will, to monitor his whereabouts. And I think he was only supposed to go to certain places like doctor's visits, court appearances, and things of that nature. And I think that since that was his daily living situation now, he was the one to stay home with the kids. And so I'm pretty sure if she wasn't talking to him, at least, just in general, she would still call to check on her kids. I don't know how or why he thought he could murder his wife. No one would notice that she was missing, and that he would get away with it. I'm not sure where his train of thought was, but as you can see, this man looks like a total just psychopath. I mean, you can just look at him and tell. And not only that, he was, like I said earlier, also alleged to be abusing her. I guess because his ego was bruised that she was the primary breadwinner.
Rather than divorce, it is believed that Brian Walsh dismembered Anna Walsh and discarded her body.
Chilling new details revealed in court by prosecutors describing the evidence against the Massachusetts father who allegedly murdered his wife and tried to cover it up. Brian Walsh in custody since January 8th when he was charged with misleading investigators searching for his wife, was in court for the arraignment Wednesday and formally charged with Anna Walsh's murder.
You understand those charges, Mr. Walsh? I do.
The prosecution laid out some of the disturbing evidence against Walsh, saying he used his son's iPad to make numerous online searches in the days before and after Anna Walsh disappeared.
On December 27th, defendant Googled, "What's the best state to divorce for a man?" At 4:55 a.m. on January 1st, he searched, "How long before a body starts to smell?" At 4:58 a.m., "How to stop a body from decomposing."
A not guilty plea was entered for Walsh, who said little in court, only shook his head once as more of his alleged searches came to light.
At 5:20 a.m., he searched, "How to embalm a body." At 5:47 a.m., 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. At 6:25 a.m. on the 1st, "How long for someone to be missing to inherit?"
Prosecutors say Anna's employer, a D.C. real estate firm, was the first to report her missing when she didn't show up for work on January 4th. That's when police went to the Walsh's home for a well-being check.
It was only at this time, when they met with the defendant, that he first reported his wife missing.
During the course of the investigation, police found 10 trash bags from a dumpster and trash facility with items including towels, rags, slippers, tape, gloves, cleaning agents, a COVID-19 vaccination card with Anna Walsh's name on it, a hacksaw, and a hatchet. They also discovered personal items, including a portion of a necklace believed to have been worn by Anna Walsh in several photos. Tests of some of the items by the state crime lab determined the presence of DNA from both Anna and Brian Walsh. After the arraignment, defense attorney Tracy Minor called out prosecutors for leaks in the case, saying in a statement that read, "In my experience, whereas here the prosecution leaks so-called evidence to the press before they provide it to me, their case isn't that strong." Minor also said, "It is easy to charge a crime and even easier to say a person committed that crime. It is a much more difficult thing to prove it, which we will see if the prosecution can do."
Some people might not find this weird, but if you go back to the previous video that I just showed, you'll see him in court or at a hearing, and they're mentioning something about him looking up certain things on his son's iPad, and he shakes his head a few times when they mention certain searches that he did, and they were talking about him. He shakes his head as to say he didn't do he didn't access those searches, or he wasn't the one to, search those things. So basically, you're putting this on your minor child as to be searching, how long does it take a body to decompose, how to get rid of I think, 115-pound body, things of that nature. So basically, he's putting these things on his minor child to say he was the one to search those things, which is, I highly doubt that that is the case, because a child is not going to be thinking about those things at that age, or at least, I hope not. But I really think in this case that it's 100% him who, searched those particular things on his son's iPad. And another thing that worries me about the fact that he used his son's iPad to search these things is, what if his son would have typed in a certain letter by accident and these things would have popped up? His son is old enough to read. So if his son would have read these things, he would have had some explaining to do, which he still has some explaining to do. He has actually more than some. He has a lot of explaining to do at this point, because you have to explain, where is your wife? How did you obviously, murder her? But I think at this point, judging by the items that were found in the bag, like the hacksaw, I think, anybody can put two and two together, and, you get the logical answer there, and, figure that out. Which is really sad, because that means that you thought about this. And I think that it's clear that you thought about this, because people just don't wake up and decide to unalive and take apart their spouse, if you catch my drift. They don't just wake up and say, oh, I'm gonna do this today. You have to literally sit here, think about how you're going to do this and how you're going to cover it up, which obviously you weren't too smart, because, you didn't cover this up very well, because, obviously she was reported missing and not by you. So I think that is, saying enough in itself, and actions speak louder than words. And I think, this also answers a question that I get a lot as to why I don't trust people. Um, and it's for reasons like this, and the cases that I've covered as to where women are involved in situations like this, as well as the situation that she was also in, unfortunately, which is domestic violence. And, just the fact that people are like just crazy, and you really don't know people until it's sometimes, unfortunately, too late. That's one of the reasons why I don't trust people. And somebody asked me once, why am I not dating? This is also one of the reasons, because of cases like this and situations like this. Because, I think that sometimes when you receive a warning, you should listen to that warning. And I have received several warnings in the past few years. So I think that it just be best if I just, continue not to trust too many people, or people in general, and just stay single and stay to myself, because it would help me, and it would help me avoid psychos like Brian Walsh, and ending up like, unfortunately, his wife and so many other women. But I'm pretty sure when she got married to this man, she didn't expect, her life to turn out or end in the way that it did. I'm pretty sure she, thought that, they were going to have a happy marriage. And I'm pretty sure she wasn't naive to the fact that, yes, marriages and relationships go through challenges, but I'm pretty sure she didn't expect to, be, you know, done in this way, or ended in this way, shall I say. And, it's just sad that, for her, someone who is at the top of their game in the career field that she chose, had to be, her life had to be ended in the way that it did. And that it had to be at the hands of someone who was supposed to love and protect her, and someone she thought she could trust, and unfortunately that's the story for many women. And I think that by now many people can say that, who, at least those who were around her, that, now that things have gone the way that they have gone, they can connect many dots that they couldn't before. And I think for them, this is sad that unfortunately, they were connecting the dots a little too late. And I'm pretty sure they wish that they could change this, and you know save her. Unfortunately, that's not something that can be done now, but hopefully, this will, her situation will be a learning lesson for women to leave at the first sign, when they get signs like that, to leave and never look back. But guys, that's the end of this video. If you like this video, please don't forget to leave me a like. Please don't forget to share this video. And if you are not already subscribed, please make sure you subscribe and leave me a comment down in the comment section below, letting me know what you think of this case and any other cases that you would like to see me cover. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.